Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at Elizabeth Holleville's Summer Spirit. This is an older book from Nobrow Press. I love Nobrow so much. So many of their books have just amazing artists, amazing stories. They're always extremely well produced. They always have really nice paper, really nice production quality. As you can see in this one, Holleville is using, I think, a 3-color spot palette. There's like an orange, a pink, and then this dark greenish blue. I think this isn't a color range I have trouble with, but I think it's a dark greenish blue. And Holleville's doing some really interesting like color mixing with those three to get all of the other colors in the book. It doesn't look like a 3-color book, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So we meet right out the gate. We meet Lydia and her sister Louise. Louise is pretty much the main character of the book, even though we have a lot of other characters cycling. Here we meet Louise's grandma's dog, Rodan, and this is just the family coming to grandma's house by the ocean for summer. So it fits into what is a very strange particular genre, but I have a bunch of books in this genre now, the like coming of age at the beach genre, and that includes like That One Summer, or This One Summer by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki, that's Dashaw's Bottomless Belly Button, Bastien Vivez's A Sister. There's definitely an Inya Osanyo book that's like that. I'm forgetting. The Girl by the Sea, I think is what it's called. So it's strange. It must be a formative experience for a lot of people. I never really had that. I guess summer camp was more my thing, where you have those first like weird flirtations with the kids your age or whatever. But that's the genre that this fits into. You also get introduced to the rest of the family, so that's not just Louise and Lydia there, but you also have Maureen and Sophie, her cousins, who are coming to visit. And even though Louise remains the main character throughout, and really the story about her grandma's sister Lisa, who's dead, like her exploration of that past is the main story, and then the rest of the family kind of, you get little bits about them as you go. The story hinges pretty much entirely around the fact that Lisa is still haunting the property as a ghost. So even though she died young, she's haunting the property. So in that sense, the best way I could describe this book is like That One Summer meets Brenda Thumler's like Sheets of Blankets series, Delicate series. Lights. I'm trying to think of all the names of those books. What's going on with the color especially reminds me a lot of Brenda Thumler's work, and then just story-wise it reminds me of those other things. And then the dealing with the ghost thing, I feel like this is also a kind of genre I've seen, like the young ghost that you make friends with. So it sits squarely between those kinds of things. I will say, if we're comparing them, like This One Summer is a significantly better book. This is a very good book, but that's a masterful book. You can tell by the cartooning, this is no Brenda Thumler or Jillian Tamaki in terms of cartooning skills, but still a really great artist, a really great color, someone who's making full use of that limited color palette and strange like spot colors, some really beautiful textural effects throughout. So still a very good book. It's just not that level of Jillian Tamaki. You know, you're talking about like the best of the best. Also, there's another series of books. I'm gonna blank on the artist's name. Maybe it's Tom Hoganot. I'm not sure. No, I feel like it's John. There's another Nobrow artist who also has like a Going to the Beach for the summer. That's just a beautifully rendered book. So this is like a good one, but not one of the great ones. There's some super fun scenes in here though, like this where one of the characters is getting bit by mosquitoes and getting these gigantic welts. That's what it looks like every time I go outside here in Alabama. So, you know, there are these fun moments of observation. I just feel like a lot of the dialogue in this one is a little more standardized and doesn't go as deep as in some of those other books I mentioned. There are some strange choices in here, I think, given the genre of book and like the target audience. It could be a really good like YA book, like young kids, but it sticks itself with being for teens and up, and really for purposes that I don't think it needed to happen this way. Like here we've got the cousin Sophie, and there's just like a 3-page sequence here where she's obviously like fiddling herself in the bathtub and fantasizing about one of the girls at the beach. So that's put in there as like a character driven moment to show that she's at least struggling with her nature as like being attracted to women. But that's really like you get a 3-page sequence with it there, and it doesn't manifest anywhere else in the book. So I get that you're trying to round out a character, but I feel like there's another way to show that she has feelings for women without showing her masturbating in the bathtub. Not that I'm against that, like I'm totally fine with that in a book. It just seems like a strange choice where you're all of a sudden going to have a book that you could just show her like having a fantasy of kissing without any of the nudity or masturbation, and then all of a sudden you got a book that you can put a much younger age on the back. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't seem essential enough to the story to need to go there. And there's a lot of the character treatment in the book is done like that. It's like each of these characters does get their thing, but they get a couple pages. You know, it's like Grandma has a couple pages that suggest she probably has dementia. Sophie gets a couple pages that suggest that she's interested in women. But you don't really get any deep characterization. And I think that actually carries over to Luis and Lisa the ghost as well. There's never anything where the writing gives you a really great sense of character. So I think that's my biggest critique of the book is there just seems to be some wasted moments or some strangely chosen moments that don't add to the book. And given that the book isn't so great with character anyways, then they feel a little flat and unnecessary. Some really fun references here to Dr. Slump. You got characters reading Toriyama in the book. You get a scene here where like this could have been enough, where Sophie like kisses the girl she's fantasizing and like gets like turned down. What are you doing there? So like you could have lowered the age that a reader of this book with just a couple of changes, and still got all the same content out. And another one of those, this one's more like, I get that if you're speaking to a young audience, coming of age, kids going through puberty, like you're gonna deal with that in an honest and interesting way, so that's cool. But again, in terms of just like the age number on your book, you could go with this idea of like she doesn't want to grow up, you know, like Lisa is telling her as a ghost, like if you die, then you never have to grow up. You could just stay a kid forever. And you have this one scene where Louise is obviously starting to grow pubic hair, and she's like, "Oh, gross! You know, I don't want to grow up." She still has no breasts or anything. I get it. I get that that's actually a very potent and intimate scene, but you take that out and you take out the one page of the girl masturbating in the tub, and yeah, you could just lower the age range on this book way, way lower. So there just seems that's like my opinion in the end about this is there just seems to be in an overall really well done book some strange choices where like an editor could have come in. Someone could have come in and like spruce the writing up a little bit, and then all of this wonderful art and otherwise fun story, would be greater. I think it would have a greater impact. But it's also unfair that like this, because this book has put itself into this category, and there's a number of other works in that very small, very well-defined category, or even the Venn diagram of like the ghost story and the summer trip. There's just examples of way better, more masterful things done before, after, around the same time period as this. So not my favorite Nobrow book, but still a really good book. It sounds like I'm crapping on it more than I intend to. Again, unfairly, because I'm comparing it to some of the best stuff I've read in the last few years. So still a really good book, some really beautiful art. And it's definitely had me looking up Elizabeth Holleville's other work, and it looks like there's a whole bunch of other really good work out there. So this is an artist that I think is very good, and I'm going to be looking for more of their stuff for sure. House on Fire by Matt Battaglia is just gorgeous book where Matt's kind of making an emotional response to the years of COVID and wrapping that into a sci-fi dystopian future that really the sci-fi dystopian's backgrounded, and you're focused on the emotional journey of two characters in a really beautiful way. And then that's enhanced by Matt's like really awesome, loose, kind of Paul Popish dry brush work. And then Sean and Matt have worked to get this second kind of orange spot color in there that's going to look really, really beautiful, and has allowed Matt to use his dry brush technique to add tone to the thing too. So with Sean's production technique, this is going to be a gorgeous book with a lot of heart.